You're not blind, you're a victim of a stupid society. We often walk through life with our eyes wide open, yet fail to truly see. We navigate a world saturated with information, with opinions, with pronouncements of what is right, what is beautiful, what is valuable. We are told what to desire, how to feel, and even what to think. This constant barrage, this relentless shaping, can create a peculiar form of blindness, not of the physical kind, but a profound, societal myopia. It's a blindness born not of an inherent deficiency, but of an imposed perspective, a conditioning so pervasive it feels like our own inherent truth. Consider the subtle ways our societal narratives can warp our perception, dictating our aspirations, our fears, and our very understanding of ourselves and others. We are taught to chase certain markers of success, wealth, status, recognition, often without questioning the source or the true meaning of these pursuits. We are shown idealized images of happiness, of relationships, of the perfect life, and then measured against these often unattainable standards, leading to feelings of inadequacy or discontent. This isn't a personal failing, it's a consequence of living within systems that prioritize conformity and consumption, systems that often profit from our perceived shortcomings. The very fabric of our modern existence is woven with threads of manufactured desire and prepackaged identity. From the moment we are born, we are immersed in a cultural milieu that whispers, shouts, and often screams what it means to be a good person, a successful person, a happy person. These messages are not neutral observations, they are carefully constructed narratives designed to guide our behavior, shape our choices, and ultimately, maintain the status quo. Think about the relentless advertising that bombards us daily, not just selling products, but selling lifestyles, aspirations, and a particular vision of the good life. Think about the media's portrayal of success, often reducing complex human achievements to simplistic metrics of fame and fortune. Think about the educational systems that, while vital, can sometimes inadvertently instill a fear of deviation, a preference for fitting in over standing out. This pervasive influence can create a deeply ingrained set of assumptions, a set of mental filters through which we process the world. We become so accustomed to these societal lenses that we mistake them for our own eyes, our own genuine desires. We believe we are making free choices, when in reality, our options may have already been subtly curated, our preferences predetermined. This isn't to suggest a conspiracy, but rather an emergent property of a society that operates on mass communication, shared values, and often, economic incentives that reward certain kinds of thinking and behavior. The danger lies in this unexamined acceptance, in the quiet surrender of our own critical faculties to the prevailing winds of popular opinion and cultural consensus. This societal conditioning can manifest in countless ways, often in the most intimate aspects of our lives. It can dictate our career paths, pushing us towards fields that offer prestige or financial security, even if they offer little personal fulfillment. It can influence our relationships, leading us to seek partners who fit a certain mold, or to stay in connections that no longer serve us because of societal expectations around commitment or family. It can even shape our perception of our own bodies, our own worth, based on ever-shifting and often unrealistic beauty standards. We are taught to measure our lives not by internal compasses of meaning and joy, but by external yardsticks of validation and conformity. This leads to a pervasive sense of striving, a constant feeling that we are not quite enough, that we are falling short of some invisible, yet powerful, ideal. The irony is that this striving often leads us further away from genuine happiness, from authentic self-expression. We become performers in a play written by others, reciting lines we didn't choose, playing roles that may not fit our true nature. The very systems designed to provide order and guidance can inadvertently stifle our individuality, our capacity for original thought, and our ability to forge our own unique paths. This is the subtle but profound tragedy of living in a society that, while offering immense benefits, can also inadvertently render us blind to our own potential and our own authentic desires, leaving us feeling adrift in a sea of borrowed values and unexamined norms. We often speak of seeing the truth, as if truth were a singular, objective entity waiting to be discovered. But what if the truth we perceive is, in fact, a carefully constructed illusion, a collective agreement that serves particular interests? What if our perceived reality is less a reflection of the world as it is, and more a product of the lenses through which society has trained us to look. This isn't about cynicism, but about critical awareness. It's about recognizing that our understanding of the world, our values, our very sense of self, are not formed in a vacuum. They are shaped by the narratives we consume, the conversations we have, the institutions we interact with. Consider the subtle ways that language itself can limit our thinking. The words we use, the concepts we are given, can frame our understanding of complex issues in binary terms, forcing us into simplistic categories. The emphasis on competition over collaboration, on individual achievement over collective well-being, are not inherent truths of human nature, but societal preferences that have been amplified and normalized. This conditioning begins early, often before we have the capacity to question it, and it continues throughout our lives, reinforcing certain ways of thinking and discouraging others. It's like being born into a house with very specific decor. After a while, you assume that's just how houses are supposed to look, never questioning the architect's choices or the possibility of other styles. The problem isn't that we are incapable of seeing, but that we have been taught to see selectively, to prioritize certain aspects of reality while overlooking others. We are trained to focus on the immediate, the quantifiable, the easily digestible, often at the expense of the nuanced, the complex, and the deeply human. This can lead to a society that is highly efficient in certain areas but profoundly lacking in empathy, creativity, or genuine connection. We become adept at navigating the prescribed paths, but lose the ability to forge our own. We learn to consume, to conform, to compete, but perhaps forget how to truly question, to collaborate, or to simply be. This societal myopia is not a malicious plot, but a natural consequence of systems that prioritize growth, efficiency, and stability, often at the expense of individual flourishing and authentic self-discovery. The challenge, then, is not to reject society entirely, but to develop a more discerning gaze, to learn to distinguish between the truths that liberate us and the narratives that constrain us. It is to reclaim our capacity for independent thought, for critical inquiry, and for the courage to question the very foundations of our perceived reality. This journey begins with a simple, yet profound, recognition that perhaps, just perhaps, we are not seeing the world as it is, but as we have been taught to see it. This script is an invitation to begin that process of reseeing. It's an exploration of how our societal conditioning can subtly, yet powerfully, shape our perception of ourselves, our desires, and our place in the world. We will delve into the ways these external influences can create a form of blindness, not of the physical kind, but a deeper, more insidious blindness of the spirit and the mind. We will examine how this conditioning can lead us to chase illusions, to value the superficial, and to feel perpetually inadequate, all while believing we are acting out of our own free will. This is not about assigning blame, but about fostering awareness. It's about understanding the forces that shape us so that we can begin to reclaim our own agency, to question the assumptions that have been handed down to us, and to cultivate a vision that is truly our own. We will embark on a journey to understand the nature of this societal blindness, to explore its origins, and most importantly, to discover how we might begin to open our eyes, not to a new set of doctrines, but to the vast, unmediated landscape of our own authentic selves in the world as it truly is, beyond the confines of imposed perception. Consider the subtle yet pervasive influence of societal archetypes, those recurring character patterns that populate our collective imagination and, consequently, our personal aspirations. We are often unconsciously drawn to embodying these idealized figures, the stoic provider, the nurturing caregiver, the rebellious artist, the brilliant innovator. These archetypes, while offering a sense of belonging and a framework for understanding our roles, can also act as invisible fences, limiting the scope of our self-expression and channeling our energies into predetermined grooves. For instance, the societal archetype of the successful businessman often emphasizes traits like ruthless ambition, unwavering decisiveness, and a certain emotional detachment. When individuals internalize this archetype, they might suppress their innate empathy or their desire for collaborative endeavors, believing that these qualities are incompatible with success. Conversely, the archetype of the devoted mother might inadvertently discourage women from pursuing ambitious careers or expressing personal ambitions that deviate from the perceived demands of nurturing. This isn't to dismiss the value of these archetypes, but to highlight how their overemphasis can lead to a selective blindness, obscuring the multifaceted nature of human potential and discouraging the exploration of less conventional paths. We become so focused on fitting the mold that we fail to recognize the unique contours of our own being, the subtle variations that make us distinct and, perhaps, more capable of contributing in ways society hasn't yet codified. Furthermore, let's examine the insidious way that societal metrics of progress can warp our perception of personal fulfillment. We are often conditioned to equate advancement with external markers: a larger house, a faster car, a higher salary, more social media followers. This relentless pursuit of quantifiable achievements can blind us to the qualitative aspects of a life well lived: the quiet satisfaction of mastering a craft, the profound connection forged through shared vulnerability, the simple joy of a walk in nature. These deeply enriching experiences often elude our notice because they don't register on the dominant societal scales of success. Think about the immense pressure to climb the ladder even when the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. This societal mandate can lead individuals to invest years, even decades, in careers that drain their vitality and stifle their creativity, simply because that's what society deems progress. The consequences: a pervasive sense of dissatisfaction, a nagging feeling that something is missing, even when all external indicators suggest success. This blindness to intrinsic value, to the subtle but profound richness of lived experience, is a direct result of internalizing societal yardsticks that prioritize accumulation and outward display over genuine well-being and personal growth. Another crucial layer to this societal conditioning lies in the way it shapes our understanding of normalcy and, by extension, our perception of deviation. Society, in its attempt to create order and predictability, often establishes a narrow band of acceptable behaviors, beliefs, and even emotions. Anything that falls outside this band can be subtly, or not so subtly, pathologized. This can create a profound fear of being different, a powerful incentive to conform, even when personal integrity or intuition suggests otherwise. Consider the historical ostracization of individuals with unconventional lifestyles, or those who challenged prevailing scientific or social dogmas. Their deviance was often met with suspicion, ridicule, or outright suppression, not because their ideas were inherently flawed, but because they threatened the established order. Consequently, many individuals learned to suppress their unique perspectives, their dissenting opinions, their unconventional passions, fearing the social repercussions. This leads to a loss of potential innovation, a silencing of vital voices, and a general impoverishment of the collective human experience. We become blind to the richness that diversity of thought and being brings, viewing difference not as a source of strength, but as a potential threat to the perceived stability of the societal norm. Conversely, the societal emphasis on constant productivity and efficiency can foster a blindness towards the vital importance of rest, contemplation, and even deliberate idleness. In many contemporary cultures, being busy is often equated with being valuable, while periods of inactivity can be viewed with suspicion or as a sign of failure. This can lead individuals to feel guilty or anxious when they are not actively engaged in some form of productive activity, even if that activity is simply recharging their mental and emotional batteries. Think about the pressure to fill every moment, to optimize every hour, lest one fall behind in the relentless march of progress. This societal narrative can blind us to the fact that true creativity, deep insight, and genuine rejuvenation often arise from moments of quietude, from allowing the mind to wander without a specific objective. By relentlessly pursuing external validation through constant activity, we can inadvertently neglect the cultivation of our inner lives, the very source of our resilience, our wisdom, and our capacity for authentic connection. This societal preference for perpetual motion can therefore create a blind spot regarding the essential human need for stillness, paradoxically hindering the very productivity and well-being it purports to champion. The societal construction of desirability is a particularly potent form of this imposed blindness, shaping not only what we want, but how we perceive our own worth and the worth of others. Beyond superficial aesthetics, this extends to the very traits and talents that society deems valuable. Consider how certain intellectual pursuits are elevated above others, How specific career paths are valorized while creative or care-oriented professions might be undervalued. This creates a hierarchy of worth, subtly dictating what kind of person is considered successful or important. When individuals internalize these societal valuations, they may feel compelled to suppress or even disown aspects of themselves that don't align with the dominant narrative of desirability. Perhaps a gifted storyteller feels pressured to pursue a more practical field, or someone with a profound capacity for empathy feels their sensitivity is a weakness in a competitive world. This isn't simply about external pressure, it's about an internal adoption of societal judgment, leading to a form of self-censorship that blinds us to the full spectrum of our own potential and the unique contributions we are capable of making. Furthermore, the pervasive influence of what might be termed expectation management plays a significant role in our societal myopia. From an early age, we are subtly taught to calibrate our expectations based on societal norms and perceived limitations. We are often encouraged to be realistic, a phrase that, while seemingly practical, can function as a societal directive to temper our ambitions and aspirations to fit within pre-approved boundaries. This can manifest in career choices, where individuals might shy away from pursuing their true passions for fear of financial instability, or in personal relationships, where they might settle for less than they truly desire because it aligns with societal expectations of compatibility or commitment. Consequently, we can become blind to the possibility of achieving outcomes that lie beyond the commonly accepted range, limiting our own perceived potential and that of others. This societal tendency to manage expectations can stifle innovation and personal growth, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy where what is deemed realistic becomes the only achievable reality, effectively blinding us to the extraordinary possibilities that lie just outside the conventional view. Building on this, the societal framing of problems and solutions often dictates our focus, leading to a selective blindness regarding root causes or alternative approaches. Society tends to favor readily identifiable issues with tangible, often technological or policy-based, solutions. This can blind us to the more complex, systemic, and deeply ingrained societal structures that perpetuate these problems. For instance, societal discourse around poverty might focus on individual responsibility or welfare programs, potentially overlooking the systemic economic inequalities and historical factors that contribute to it. Similarly, discussions about social unrest might prioritize law enforcement responses, potentially obscuring the underlying grievances and systemic injustices that fuel the unrest. This inclination towards managing symptoms rather than addressing fundamental causes can create a profound societal blindness, preventing us from engaging with the deeper, more challenging work required for lasting change. It encourages a reactive rather than a proactive approach, keeping us trapped in cycles of recurring issues because the true origins remain obscured by the dominant societal lens. Conversely, consider how societal narratives surrounding success can inadvertently cultivate a blindness to the process of learning and the value of failure. In many cultural contexts, success is presented as a singular, triumphant arrival, a destination achieved with minimal struggle or setbacks. This can lead individuals to view any deviation from a direct path to success, any mistake, any misstep, as a personal failing, rather than as an integral part of the learning journey. Consequently, we can become so focused on achieving the outward appearance of success that we develop a blindness to the messy, iterative, and often challenging process of genuine growth. This fear of failure, instilled by societal expectations, can paralyze individuals, preventing them from taking risks, experimenting with new ideas, or pursuing ambitious goals that might involve an element of uncertainty. The result is a society that often celebrates the outcome, but overlooks the invaluable lessons learned in the crucible of effort and experimentation, thereby blinding itself to the very mechanisms that drive true innovation and personal development. The societal fixation on curated identity, often driven by digital platforms, presents a unique and pervasive form of this imposed blindness. We meticulously construct online personas, showcasing idealized versions of our lives, our achievements, and even our thoughts. This constant performance, this pressure to present a polished facade, can lead to a profound disconnect from our authentic selves. We become so adept at projecting a certain image that we begin to lose touch with the messier, more vulnerable, but ultimately more real aspects of our inner lives. This curated blindness isn't just about deception, it's about self-deception, where the crafted narrative becomes more compelling, more desirable, than the unvarnished truth. Consequently, when faced with genuine emotional challenges or moments of personal struggle, we may find ourselves ill-equipped to navigate them, having spent so much energy maintaining a public image of unwavering resilience. The very tools that promise connection can, in fact, foster a deep sense of isolation by obscuring the shared human experience of imperfection. Furthermore, consider the societal emphasis on consumption as a primary avenue for happiness and self-definition. From an early age, we are bombarded with messages that equate owning more with being more, that link material possessions to social status and personal fulfillment. This cultural narrative can create a powerful blindness to the intrinsic value of experiences, relationships, and personal growth. We become so accustomed to seeking satisfaction through acquisition that we may overlook the profound joy and contentment that can be found in simpler, less materialistic pursuits. Think about the relentless cycle of upgrades and new releases, each promising a fleeting moment of satisfaction that quickly fades, leaving us yearning for the next purchase. This societal drive towards perpetual consumption can blind us to the sustainable sources of happiness that lie within our own capacities for creativity, connection, and mindful appreciation of what we already have. The pursuit of the ephemeral can overshadow the cultivation of the enduring, leading to a society that is materially rich but often spiritually impoverished. Building upon this, the societal tendency to categorize and label individuals can also foster a significant blindness to individual complexity. We are often quick to pigeonhole people based on their profession, their background, their political affiliation, or any number of other social markers. This mental shorthand, while perhaps efficient for navigating social interactions, can prevent us from seeing the unique person behind the label. Consequently, we may make assumptions about their beliefs, their capabilities, or their motivations without truly understanding them. This can lead to prejudice, missed opportunities for genuine connection, and a general impoverishment of our social fabric. Think about how easily stereotypes can form and persist, influencing our perceptions and interactions even when presented with evidence to the contrary. This societal inclination to simplify and categorize can blind us to the rich tapestry of human individuality, the nuances and contradictions that make each person a unique and complex being. Conversely, the societal pressure to maintain a constant state of optimism and positivity can create a dangerous blindness to the reality of human suffering and the importance of acknowledging difficult emotions. We are often taught that expressing sadness, anger, or doubt is a sign of weakness, that our can-do attitude should prevail at all costs. This relentless pursuit of a cheerful exterior can lead individuals to suppress or deny their genuine feelings, believing that to do so is a sign of strength. Consequently, when faced with adversity or loss, they may find themselves ill-equipped to process their emotions, leading to prolonged periods of unspoken grief or unresolved trauma. This societal emphasis on perpetual happiness can blind us to the cathartic power of authentic emotional expression and the vital role that acknowledging pain plays in healing and personal growth. It creates a superficial veneer of well-being that can mask deeper, unaddressed struggles, ultimately hindering genuine resilience. Another crucial layer to this imposed blindness is the societal valorization of outward achievement over internal development. We are often encouraged to focus on external validation, accolades, promotions, public recognition rather than on the cultivation of inner qualities like wisdom, compassion, or self-awareness. This societal emphasis can lead individuals to neglect their inner lives, mistaking external success for genuine fulfillment. Think about the immense pressure to achieve by a certain age, to have a perfectly curated resume, even if it means sacrificing personal growth or ethical considerations along the way. This societal narrative can blind us to the fact that true success is often an eternal journey, a process of becoming rather than simply acquiring. By prioritizing the external markers of achievement, society can inadvertently foster a superficial understanding of a life well lived, creating a blindness to the deeper, more enduring rewards of personal transformation and the quiet cultivation of character. The societal structuring of risk aversion presents a compelling, yet often overlooked, dimension of our collective blindness. We are frequently conditioned to prioritize safety and predictability above exploration and potential growth, a tendency amplified by a media landscape that often sensationalizes negative outcomes. Consider how the pervasive fear of public speaking, for instance, can stem less from an inherent phobia and more from a societal amplification of potential embarrassment. We are shown portrayals of awkward presentations, of individuals stumbling over words or forgetting their lines, and these images become potent deterrents, reinforcing the notion that deviating from a safe, predictable presentation is inherently dangerous. This societal inclination towards minimizing perceived threats can lead individuals to shy away from opportunities that, while carrying a degree of uncertainty, could lead to significant personal or professional advancement. The comfort of the known, reinforced by societal narratives that often frame the unfamiliar as perilous, can blind us to the transformative power of calculated risk-taking. Furthermore, the societal emphasis on efficiency can create a peculiar blindness to the value of process and the inherent learning embedded within it. We are often conditioned to seek the quickest, most direct route to a desired outcome, viewing any deviation or perceived inefficiency as a waste of time and resources. This can manifest in educational settings, where students might focus solely on memorizing facts for an exam rather than engaging with the material on a deeper, more conceptual level. Or consider the workplace, where the pressure to get it done can overshadow the importance of thoughtful collaboration or the iterative refinement of a project. This societal drive for streamlined results can blind us to the fact that many of life's most valuable lessons are learned not in the final achievement, but in the journey itself, in the trial and error, the moments of reflection, and the adjustments made along the way. The relentless pursuit of efficiency can, paradoxically, lead to a shallower understanding and a reduced capacity for innovative problem-solving, as the process of exploration is often sacrificed for the sake of speed. Another crucial layer of this imposed blindness lies in the societal framing of expertise and the subsequent dismissal of informal or experiential knowledge. We are often taught to defer to credentialed authorities, to trust degrees and titles over lived experience or intuitive understanding. While formal education is undeniably important, this societal reverence for established expertise can lead to a dismissal of valuable insights that arise from unconventional paths or practical engagement with the world. Think about how a seasoned artisan's intuitive understanding of materials might be undervalued compared to a newly graduated engineer's theoretical knowledge, even when the artisan's practical mastery is far more profound. This societal tendency to prioritize formal recognition over demonstrable skill or profound insight can blind us to the diverse forms that knowledge takes and the rich contributions that individuals outside of traditional academic or professional structures can offer. It can create an echo chamber where only certain voices are heard, limiting the scope of our collective understanding and innovation. Conversely, the societal narrative that often equates busyness with importance can create a profound blindness to the necessity of stillness and introspection. We are frequently conditioned to believe that our value is directly proportional to our level of activity, that filling every moment with tasks and engagements is a sign of purpose and productivity. This can lead individuals to feel guilt or anxiety when they are not actively engaged in some form of productive endeavor, even if that endeavor is simply allowing their minds to rest and recharge. Consider the subtle pressure to always be on, to respond to emails immediately, to fill social calendars, lest one be perceived as disengaged or unimportant. This societal emphasis on perpetual motion can blind us to the fact that true creativity, deep insight, and emotional resilience often emerge from periods of quiet contemplation, from allowing the mind to wander without a specific objective. By relentlessly pursuing external validation through constant activity, we can inadvertently neglect the cultivation of our inner lives, the very source of our capacity for genuine connection and authentic self-expression. The societal preference for perpetual motion can therefore create a blind spot regarding the essential human need for stillness, paradoxically hindering the very productivity and well-being it purports to champion. The societal conditioning that fosters a blindness to our own capabilities is particularly insidious when it comes to the realm of emotional intelligence and interpersonal dynamics. We are often taught to prioritize outward displays of success and achievement, sometimes at the expense of understanding and managing our own emotions, or those of others. Think about how often we are encouraged to power through difficult feelings, to maintain a stoic facade even when overwhelmed. This societal narrative can lead to a profound deficit in recognizing the subtle cues in the societal tendency to compartmentalize knowledge, thereby blinding us to its interconnectedness, is another critical facet of this imposed myopia. We often learn subjects in discrete silos, mathematics here, literature there, science in another wing. This artificial separation can obscure the profound resonances and shared principles that bind different fields of inquiry together. Consequently, when we encounter a problem, our minds are conditioned to reach for tools from only one designated toolbox, failing to recognize that a solution might lie in the unexpected synthesis of disparate disciplines. Now, consider how this applies when you face a complex ethical dilemma. Society might present it as a purely philosophical problem, or perhaps a legal one, or even a purely emotional quandary. Yet, a truly robust understanding, a clearer sight, might emerge from weaving together insights from history, psychology, economics, and even artistic expression. By failing to see these interconnections, we limit our capacity for holistic problem-solving and nuanced understanding, effectively blinding ourselves to the richer, more integrated truths that lie at the intersections of knowledge. Furthermore, the societal framing of progress often prioritizes novelty and disruption, inadvertently fostering a blindness to the enduring wisdom found in tradition and continuity. We are constantly encouraged to look forward, to embrace the new, to discard the old as obsolete. While innovation is vital, this relentless forward gaze can blind us to the valuable lessons, the tested practices, and the deep ethical frameworks that have been refined over generations. Think about ancient agricultural techniques that promoted soil health and sustainability, or philosophical traditions that have grappled with fundamental questions of human existence for millennia. When society dismisses these as relics of the past, it blinds itself to potential solutions and timeless insights that could inform our present challenges. This can lead to a cycle of reinventing the wheel, often with less effective results, simply because the societal lens is so rigidly focused on what is yet to come, rather than what has been learned. Another crucial layer is how societal narratives around competition can blind us to the power and efficacy of collaboration. We are often encouraged to view life as a zero-sum game, where one person's gain is another's loss. This can manifest in workplaces, in education, and even in personal relationships, fostering an environment of rivalry rather than mutual support. Consequently, when faced with a challenge that requires collective effort, our societal conditioning might steer us towards individualistic solutions, even when a collaborative approach would be far more efficient and effective. Imagine a community facing an environmental crisis. Societal messaging might push for individual responsibility, recycle more, use less energy, while obscuring the immense potential of collective action, community-led initiatives, and shared resource management. This focus on individual competition, amplified by societal narratives, can blind us to the synergistic power that arises when individuals pull their strengths and work towards a common goal, ultimately hindering our ability to address complex, systemic issues. Conversely, the societal tendency to equate personal identity with professional roles can create a profound blindness to the multifaceted nature of human beings. We are often defined by our job titles, our industries, our career trajectories. This societal shorthand can lead us to overlook the rich tapestry of interests, talents, and experiences that exist outside of an individual's professional sphere. Now, consider how this applies when you meet someone new. The societal conditioning is to ask, "What do you do?" as if that single descriptor encapsulates their entire being. This can blind us to their passions as a musician, their dedication as a volunteer, their wisdom gained through navigating personal challenges. By reducing individuals to their professional identities, we limit our understanding of them, and in doing so, we also limit our own capacity for deeper connection and appreciation of the full spectrum of human experience. This societal practice can blind us to the potential for unexpected collaborations, friendships, and insights that lie dormant when we fail to look beyond the professional label. The societal construction of normalcy often operates through the subtle mechanism of statistical aggregation, leading to a blindness towards outliers and the unique potential they represent. When society defines what is normal by looking at the most frequent occurrences, It inadvertently marginalizes or pathologizes those who deviate from the statistical average. Consider the field of education, where standardized testing often dictates curriculum and teaching methods. A student who learns best through kinesthetic activities or visual spatial reasoning might struggle within a system primarily geared towards auditory learners, or those who excel at rote memorization. This isn't a deficiency in the student, but a consequence of a societal framework that prioritizes the statistically common, thereby blinding educators and policymakers to the diverse learning styles and intelligences that exist. Consequently, these individuals may internalize the message that they are somehow less than, when in reality, they possess a different, equally valid, cognitive architecture. Furthermore, the societal emphasis on outward displays of confidence can foster a significant blindness to the profound strength found in vulnerability and quiet introspection. We are often conditioned to equate self-assurance with visible assertiveness, and to view hesitation or a preference for thoughtful consideration as weakness. Think about public discourse, where the loudest, most declarative voices often dominate the conversation, while those who process information more slowly or express themselves with more nuance can be easily overlooked or dismissed. This societal preference for the overtly confident can blind us to the deep reservoirs of wisdom and insight that often reside in individuals who are more reserved or who engage in internal reflection before external articulation. The pressure to project an unwavering self-belief can lead individuals to suppress genuine questions or doubts, fearing that admitting uncertainty will diminish their perceived competence, thereby creating a blindness to the richness that comes from acknowledging one's own evolving understanding. Building on this, the societal framing of success as a linear, upward trajectory can create a dangerous blindness to the value of cyclical learning in periods of reassessment. We are often presented with narratives of constant growth, of perpetual advancement, where any perceived plateau or regression is seen as a failure. Consider the career path, often idealized as a climb up a ladder, with each rung representing a higher position or greater achievement. This societal narrative can blind individuals to the importance of stepping back, reassessing their goals, and even intentionally taking a detour to gain broader experience or pursue a different passion. Such periods of reassessment, while not fitting the linear model of progress, are often crucial for deeper understanding and more sustainable long-term development. By adhering to a rigid, forward-moving definition of success, society inadvertently fosters a blindness to the wisdom gained from periods of consolidation, reflection, and even intentional redirection, which are essential components of genuine mastery and fulfillment. Conversely, the societal tendency to prioritize quantifiable outcomes over qualitative experiences can lead to a profound blindness regarding the true nature of well-being. We are often inundated with metrics: GDP, stock market performance, productivity quotas that are easily measured and widely reported. While these have their place, they can overshadow the less tangible, yet arguably more significant, aspects of a flourishing life, such as strong social connections, a sense of purpose, or opportunities for creative expression. Think about how a city might celebrate economic growth while ignoring rising rates of loneliness or declining mental health among its citizens. This societal focus on the measurable can blind us to the qualitative richness that truly defines a good life, leading to a pursuit of external markers that do not necessarily translate into genuine internal contentment. The relentless pursuit of quantifiable achievements, dictated by societal norms, can therefore blind us to the deeper, more fulfilling sources of human happiness and social cohesion. Reflecting on this journey so far, we've navigated the intricate landscape where societal narratives subtly sculpt our perception, often without our conscious consent. The various threads we've examined, from the archetypal confines that shape our aspirations to the metrics that redefine our very sense of worth, converge to reveal a profound pattern. It's akin to standing in a meticulously designed garden, where every bloom and pathway has been deliberately placed, leading our gaze in a particular direction, often away from the wilder, untamed beauty that exists beyond its borders. These societal constructs, while offering a semblance of order, can inadvertently blind us to the vastness of our own potential and the intricate interconnectedness of knowledge that lies just beyond the manicured edges. As we pivot towards the final reflection, consider how these interwoven influences coalesce, creating a subtle but pervasive fog that can obscure our authentic vision. The constant calibration of our desires against externally validated benchmarks, the tendency to categorize and simplify complex human experiences, and the prioritization of quantifiable achievements over qualitative depth all contribute to a collective shaping of our reality. It's as if we've been handed a pair of specially tinted glasses at birth, and without realizing it, we've come to believe that the world is inherently that color. The challenge, then, is not to discard the glasses entirely, but to understand their tint, to recognize the subtle biases they introduce, and to begin to adjust our gaze, allowing for a broader spectrum of perception to emerge. In light of these insights, the path forward becomes less about identifying individual flaws and more about understanding the pervasive architecture that shapes our collective experience. The convergence of these societal forces has, in many ways, conditioned us to see the world through a particular lens, one that often emphasizes conformity, external validation, and a narrow definition of success. Yet, as we draw these strands together, a subtle shift occurs. The fog begins to lift, not by a sudden gust of wind, but by a slow, dawning awareness. It's the realization that the landscape we've been navigating, while seemingly fixed, is in fact a construct, and that within this construct lies the potential for a more expansive, more authentic way of seeing, a way that honors the richness of individual experience and the interconnectedness of all things, moving us towards a more profound and liberated understanding of ourselves and the world around us. The tapestry of our perception is not merely woven from our personal experiences, but intricately threaded with the collective narratives that society has spun for us. We have journeyed through the subtle ways these external forces, the archetypes we internalize, the metrics we chase, the very definition of what constitutes normal, can shape our vision, often leading us to mistake the societal lens for our own intrinsic sight. This isn't an accusation, but an illumination, revealing how even our most personal aspirations and perceived limitations can be echoes of a larger, often unexamined, discourse. The essence of this exploration lies in recognizing that our perceived reality is not a fixed, objective landscape, but a dynamically constructed space, influenced by the very air we breathe and the social atmosphere. To emerge from this societal myopia is not to reject the world, but to engage with it more consciously, with a reawakened discernment. It is to understand that the blindness we might experience is not an inherent flaw, but a consequence of an environment that often prioritizes conformity and predictable outcomes over the untamed landscape of individual truth. The true practice begins now, the practice of questioning the tint of the glasses we wear, of understanding the origins of the pathways laid out before us, and of daring to step off the well-trodden paths to discover the terrain of our own authentic vision. This is the quiet revolution, the profound act of reclaiming our sight, not to find a singular, absolute truth, but to embrace the rich, multifaceted, and often surprising panorama of existence as it unfolds through our own awakened consciousness. It is in this conscious reframing, this deliberate adjustment of our gaze, that we begin to see not just what society has shown us, but what truly lies within and around us, waiting to be discovered.